So we've been talking about the stages of addiction and how someone can go from never trying a drug or alcohol to depending on it. And how does that happen? Um, I think a lot of times we talk about, well, just stop or just say no. But at each phase, there's a new obstacle and there's a new mental idea about what's going on and what you can and can't handle. So the first two phases were experimentation, which is basically when someone tries something for the first time and there's not a major consequence for it. Therefore, the lie that's there is, well, you are strong enough to handle it and you can keep going with the behavior. The second phase is misuse, which you're starting to see a little bit of dependency on the drug or alcohol, but most of the time you're just starting to really enjoy it, and enjoying it is creating the need to lie and the need to start changing some friends, and the social setting is going to be a little bit different. And now there's a little bit of friction because of that. There's conflict either in your relationships at school or relationships at home. And there's some problems, but not anything that's in over your head where you're feeling like you can't handle it, and you continue because you're still getting more out of the behavior than you are being taken away from because of the behavior. So the third one that we're going to look at is abuse. And this third phase, you start seeing things getting a little bit more serious. So in the mind, the mental space that someone is at when they're in the abuse phase is now there's an obsession and there's constant thoughts about when is the next time that I can engage in behaviors that will make me feel that high or that escape or that good feeling that this substance is providing. It's up a lot of mental time, a lot of mental energy, and it almost could become all consuming. In some of the earlier phases, you might have self-imposed limits, which means you're saying, oh, we'll only do it once on the weekend or twice a day or whatever your limit is. There's this kind of boundary in the brain of here's where I'm going and here's where I'm not going. But by the time that you've reached the abuse phase, you've been blowing past your own limits for a long time, which means there's a lot of compounded shame. There's compounded guilt involved in that because you can't even hold to it yourself. You're starting to see that substance starting to take control and take over of an individual once they reach that point. There can be some major problems happening within friend groups, major problems within school. You'll see grades drop. You can see just a lot of challenges inside of what used to be the everyday normal. Now it's a little bit harder. Now it doesn't always happen. Just so you know, sometimes people can maintain the same outward look, but very difficult. And generally, the abuse phase is also made up of huge amounts of lying and often is paired with stealing. And there can be a lot of hurt, especially with those that you live with family members. There's this sense of hiding from them all the time. And you're always trying to keep up and make sure that you're keeping one step ahead of them. And that, that you're starting to see some major problems because of those behaviors. At the abuse phase, someone really isn't in control anymore. If that is you, I guess just want to give you a second to breathe. Like, yes, we discussed in some of the other videos, this is an illegal, it's a very harmful and damaging activity, not only for you, but also that ripples outward to some other relationships, and it can cause some great damage and strain to people that you love and that love you. So yes, it needs to stop and it needs to end. But at the same time, if you were sitting here with me, we were talking about this, I wouldn't look at you like you've become this horrible monster. I would look at you and say, okay, let's figure out a plan and let's make some changes. Let's make them pretty quickly because you're going to need some intervention pretty quickly. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to look at you and say that you're a horrible person. And I'm really proud of you for watching this video and trying to find out and figure out where you're at. You're going to need to overcome that boundary line in your brain that says, I can't talk to anybody about this and I'll look weak if I try to get help. It's actually a very strong thing for you to stand up and say, I think that I'm not in control of this any longer and I need some help. So I hope you have someone to talk to. If not, there's going to be some phone numbers in the description. Please, be strong, be brave, be courageous enough to fight for yourself. I believe in you, and I hope that you do too. Definitely go out there and see if you can find that help, because I know that it does exist. I'm rooting for you.